Man, what has happened to Team Spirit? It's such a great start to the year. It's hard to watch how far they've fallen off. When they burst onto the scene at Katowice, it looked like they were going to dominate the CS scene for the foreseeable future. But now, even with all their skill, they look like a dead team. Their breakthrough at Katowice was pure and total domination. Spirit ran through the plans and upper bracket, beating Apex, the Mongols, Navi, Falcons, and FaZe twice, and only lost one map during their run. And these maps weren't even close either. Apex got 13 0'd right off the bat, and FaZe only won 23 rounds in a best of 5 finals match. They looked great, although beatable, at the Copenhagen Major, running through Cloud9, Imperial, and Navi again, before being stopped by FaZe in the quarterfinals of what can only be described as the most electric and entertaining CS match of all time. This match seriously had it all. Crazy plays, multiple insane clutches, and maps 2 and 3 going into overtime. This duel was a massive bracket buster as FaZe and Spirit were the first and third most picked teams to win the major, so whoever won this matchup was seen to be the likely champion of CS2's first major. But ever since then, something just looks off with Spirit. They made it far in their next two events at Bet Boom Dhaka and IEM Dallas, but ended up getting embarrassed in the playoffs at both events, losing 2-0 to Vitality at Dallas and getting 3-0'd by Mouse in the Bet Boom Dhaka finals. They also made it to the playoffs at the Esports World Cup before getting smoked again, this time by G2. The year post Katowice hasn't been all disappointing though. They have gone on and won a few other events like the Blast Spring Finals and Bet Boom Dhaka Season 2, but they haven't looked quite like they did at the beginning of the year. But what's inexcusable though was their performance at Cologne. At Cologne, Spirit just played horrible, uninspired CS. It looked like a group of 5 random puggers being thrown up against Prime Astralis. Spirit first played the Mongols, keeping it close but losing their first map, only to then shit the bed on Anubis and be put up against G2 in the losers bracket. And if you've seen this other video on my channel, you already know where this is going. G2 straight up obliterated Spirit. In what was touted as a potential great grand finals matchup, G2 recreated the coughing baby versus hydrogen bomb meme and just massacred them. NiKo put up an absurd 2.01 rating across the series as Spirit got 13-3 on Nuke and somehow played even worse on Mirage and lost 13-1, bombing out of the event. And that brings us to the current day, where Spirit is struggling at Pro League Season 20. Donk had to drop back-to-back near 40 bombs for Spirit to barely beat Wildcard? If there ever was a sign that a team has fallen off, it's almost losing to a Tier 3 NA team. It doesn't really seem like this roster's issue is firepower or skill though. They have plenty of talent, but what appears to be a pretty shitty mental. They sort of remind me of how FaZe is right now as well. A great team underperforming for reasons behind the scene. The thing is, I don't hate the roster they have, I'm not fully convinced that they need to change anything. Donk is Donk obviously, a young superstar in contention for best player in the world. Shiro's passive opping style and insane clutch ability pairs perfectly with Donk for a solid 1-2 punch. Chopper has shown he's capable of calling at a tier 1 level. Zontix is a nice lurker who's shown he can frag out when he's hot, and Magix is a solid anchor. If they were to change out a player, maybe they could pick up Perfecto in place of Magix, but I'm not even sure how good of an idea this is, because even though Perfecto is a better fragger than Magix, Magix has been on the team for nearly 5 years at this point and seems to be good friends with Donk, so taking him out may just make things worse. With all that being said, I think their roster's fate will be decided at the Shanghai Major. It's too late for any roster changes before the Major, but if Spirit doesn't perform and gets embarrassed in the group stage or playoffs again, I think this team may be due for some new faces. Spirit is still a good team capable of beating anybody, but if they want to dominate and have their own era, something or someone has got to change.